to get you caught up to speed. Last night, while furiously searching compliments of Caleb Williams from his Bears teammates because they wanted his backup to start, first time in the history of the NFL, the #1 pick has his fellow teammates going to the GM and saying, hey, maybe Tyson Bagent should start. And
you screwed up because you're trying to freestyle. You messed up the best part of Tears is the intro. But because of your deep-seated hatred of Caleb Williams.
I like Caleb Williams.
Oh, it's very
Drake
clear.
May outplayed him. He straight up outplayed him behind a worse offensive line.
See, look,
and then the Bears fell apart like, our offensive line is the worst. And then all the nerds came out of the woodwork like, no, actually your offensive line is actually pretty good. You guys hold on to the ball too much. Poor Orlovsky is looking at the thing. Where's he supposed to throw the ball? And he's like, well, right there.
I gotta be
fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all of sports. It's an honor and a privilege. It's time for Nick's Tears.
Is it?
Is it?
Oh, you tell me.
I don't know, buddy. Eliminated.
You better not have the Bears above the Patriots. I swear to God, we just played them. We played them head-to-head in a contest of a football game in their home stadium. Time for Tears.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Where should the Bears be? Can we redo the graphics? Or can we roll with it, KW? Eliminated. For people who are new to the Tiers, there are rules to it. Once you're eliminated, you're not ever uneliminated. It would be wildly embarrassing for the committee to have to do that. We've never had to do it. If any of these teams were to become playoff likely, then we would. Those teams have been eliminated. The newest elimination, New York Jets. There is one team this week facing elimination. Reveal it, please. To the Tiers. Facing elimination, Dallas Cowboys. And I'll be honest, I'd like to pre-eliminate them. However, the committee has a rule. You cannot be eliminated without being on the facing elimination line and losing that game. Luckily, Cowboys play the Texans this week. Texans need the game. They're going to get the game, and the Cowboys will be eliminated from Tiers. Teetering on the brink. Hope that's good enough for you, KW. Bears, Colts, Dolphins. Dolphins, of these three teams right now, is the one you probably have the most hope for because they have been able to construct a credible offense when Tua's been in there. But I'm worried about Tua's ability to stay in there because he's playing with such a reckless abandon. I don't understand. The Colts, after 2 weeks of being like Joe Flacco will fix it, today announced they're going back to Anthony Richardson. That's good. For the Bears, a lot of problems. Here's the biggest of which. The whole idea behind the Bears being a playoff team was going to run up wins early because the back half of their schedule is the hardest in the league. Well, they didn't get to 7 wins early. They got to 4, and now the hardest schedule's coming, so that could go in the wrong direction. More than respectable. Seahawks, listen, they have not gotten the wins as of late, but they're in these games. The Broncos have top 5 scoring defense, top 5 yardage defense. Nix isn't killing them. And, man, I feel like the Bucs have had 4 50-50 games that they lost.
Yeah.
That, whether it was the Falcons game on Thursday night earlier in the season, this weekend against San Francisco, the Chiefs game, so many of these, and now you do worry they're going to end up a game short. Can't quite click. Bengals, Rams, Falcons. So for the Bengals, it's very simple. The defense just has not held up its end of the bargain. The Falcons, it feels like the games the defense plays well, like this week against New Orleans, the offense doesn't show up. And the same thing with the Rams, where you don't get both sides of the ball pulling at the same time. This past week, the Rams defense did its job. The Stafford and the offense couldn't get going. McVay's kicking these short field goals. I actually think any of these 3 teams would be scary in a first-round playoff matchup, but week to week, they haven't been as consistent as you'd like. Dangerous, but untrustworthy. Texans, Cardinals, Vikings, Niners. So all of these teams, when you have, whether it's CJ when Nico's there, Kyler when he's rolling to his right, falling backwards, throwing a quarter field moon ball, the guy's wide open, that tight end leak really works for him. The Vikings when Flores sending his blitzes, or Purdy in the offense when it's clicking and Fred Warner's making plays on defense. What's up, bro?
You've come around.
No, I'm just telling you that when they're rolling, all 3 of these teams look really good, but I don't trust them week to week. It also feels like all 4 of these teams, anybody could beat them on any given week because they haven't been consistent thus far this season. Win a playoff game. In order to validate this season, I think all 3 of these teams would need to win a playoff game. Validate's too strong. In order to make this season an unabashed success, I think at this point, we expect all three of these teams to be in the playoffs. But it will feel, with Washington starting 7-2, if they end up going from there to not winning the division to losing in round one. Green Bay last year won a playoff game. The Chargers, it's all the coaching. So you had bad coaching, you got good coaching, going to be in the playoffs. For win your first career playoff game for Herbert. Green Bay, do what you did last year. And for Washington, don't have it just be a first half of the season thing, because there is that Cliff Kingsbury first half season's great, second half not so much, and it's cooling a bit already with Jaden. Final four ceiling. I think these are three really good teams. I underestimated the two Pennsylvania teams massively. Thought they both missed the playoffs. Right now, they're both huge favorites to make the playoffs. I do not believe Baltimore with that defense, Pittsburgh with that offense, or Philly with that coaching can make the Super Bowl, but I think any of those teams could show up in the conference championship game, which for the Pennsylvania teams would be a hell of a season. For Baltimore, it would feel like kind of more of the same from last year. Drinking the Kool-Aid, I'm talking about myself. I love everything Dan Campbell's doing. The grit stuff I buy into, the speaking turnovers into existence I buy into, the fact that he seems to truly believe in Jared Goff, and it makes Jared Goff believe in himself so much that he says things like, I thought he played pretty well in the game. He threw 5 interceptions. Like, I'm all in. I love what the Lions are doing, and...
Oh,
Wild.
We got to talk about this.
What?
He keeps
Wild.
on flirting with these takes.
Yeah, the Lions to the Super Bowl take.
Yeah.
That coach is sitting next to.
Yeah.
Sitting next to. We've been married for months.
Yeah, you have. And I scented a dirty martini down, slid down at the end of the bar.
Extra dirty.
Yeah, extra dirty. Is this the year?
She's high character.
The Buffalo Bills. Is this the year? Is this the year you finally beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? Is this the year you finally win a Super Bowl in Buffalo? Get back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 30 years? Or is this more of the same, where you actually do win your Super Bowl, beating the Chiefs in the regular season and lose in the playoffs? Or do you actually get, beat by the Chiefs twice this year? I don't know. And then at the top, 3 phases of perfection. Offense, defense, special teams. I don't know, 15 straight victories. Best coach, best quarterback, best defense, best special teams, best stadium, best all of it. There it is. Committee steers.
I liked it.
We did.
Yeah.
I didn't really
What'd
like
you
it that
disagree with, Coach? That I didn't have your league
kinda-
MVP CJ Stroud high enough?
Kind
Maybe?
of like his search for tweets. Is like
No, I
thinly put together.
Nope,
Not-
you
not
guys
very-
asked for it, and I
not
found it
very
within
well
minutes. Go ahead.
documented. Well, this is the deal with where he puts the Bills. And the Bills are all about put them above the Lions, because if they beat Kansas City, then it can be like, oh, well, they were the second best team. Of course they beat Kansas
Bingo!
City. And then if Kansas City wins, like, oh, they beat the second best team. That's the reason that they're where they are. But Detroit should be higher than the Bills. And then let's just take a look at the strength of schedule. Let's take a look at their strength of schedule and their success rate. I don't know if we have that available or not. There we go. Strength of wins, Bills 355, Lions 514. Strength of schedule, Lions way ahead of the Bills there as well. And then if we just look what's happened here during the 7-game win streak, okay, first in points per game, point per game differential, takeaways, all that's great. But let's look at some things that we're not going to look at it, but this 7-game win streak is the best since 1995, 29 years. 8-1 record, best since 1954. I think that's 70 years. You can do the math. And they're also on a 5-game road streak. So everything that they've done is better than the Bills, but yet because the Bills are playing the Chiefs, we got to put them above. So in case they beat the Chiefs.
That Lions game? You're like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's kidding.
Know what I like about the Lions game is, with as bad as it was, they found a way to win.
Yeah.
Kind of like blocking a field goal at the end of the game. You got to give them respect for it.
Coach. So here's the thing. As you should know, and
This is a rich tapestry, remember
as
that.
you very well know, there's not only are there no biases on the tiers, we have a full committee to ensure that that wouldn't happen.
It balances
And the
it out.
idea that I need to artificially inflate the Bills
Oh, you do?
when this 30 million people are going to watch the game this weekend, and it is being billed as one of, it just is, as far as teams with their this deep into the season, this few of losses. It's the first time that's happened in 6 years since actually the 9-1 Chiefs played the 9-1 Rams on Monday Night Football in that 54-51 game. So that's nonsense.
Well, I guess
now
watching the game makes the team. That's why they're better than Detroit.
No, listen.
People are watching the game.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
You coach did something this year that he's never done before.
What?
Made preseason picks. And he
Right.
told us, he was like, all my time doing TV, I've never had to do that. And now he's really feeling the repercussions of it. He didn't want to give up on the.
That's
please,
horrible.
Hold on.
Third.
No, it's not about the Lions. It's about your skepticism of Buffalo. Because Buffalo checks every box that you would like. They had faith in their coach. They have a great quarterback, a force multiplier. They got rid of kind of the somewhat distraction diva receiver and no, that's why we pay the quarterback all this. All these things. But you didn't believe in the Bills before the year, so you are anchored to that take. Despite the fact the Bills this past week looked dominant, and that brings me to the Lions, which is my question. Did you think the Lions looked good this week, or were you concerned, even though it was great they pulled out the win, a little concerned that Jared Goff that we saw is going to be the Jared Goff we see at the end of their season?
I was absolutely shocked that they were able to win the game throwing 5 interceptions.
Yes.
Which then reinforced the fact that this team must be really good.
It is.
To be able to overcome 5 interceptions and still find a way.
So I agree with that entirely, which is why I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. But the Goff thing terrifies you.
Jared Goff's career.
No, don't do that.
Did you say
No, he's being a smartass. I appreciate that.
Aaron Rodgers.
It's the second time that's happened in Goff's career. But Brew, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, Nick, you're not going to like it. I'm doubling down on what Coach said.
Because these guys were just wrong
Look at
about
the bar. Here's the bar. I'm waiting for the Bills. SMH, for those of you who don't know, shaking my head.
Gianna, do you fact check that?
Bias is back, and I have complimented you for the last month. I think that you have removed the bias from the tiers, from Mahomes Mountains for the most part. Kind of, there's a little,
I'm just a well-known Bills fan. Now
you are,
the Buffalo
and that's
News?
what's baffling.
No, I've just
this
been
year,
right
all of
about
a sudden, you're the biggest. No, you haven't.
How?
They haven't done a thing to warrant being ahead of Detroit and Baltimore, and I'd put Philly ahead of them. I'll put them on the same tier as the Steelers. The Bills haven't done it. They're 1-2 against teams with winning records. The one game they won was Arizona, when Arizona opening weekend didn't know who it was.
Yeah, also
and they
pass
took them
interference, by
all
the way.
they could, everything they had to beat Arizona at home. When they've stepped up in class, what's happened? Baltimore just beat the living lights out
rough.
of them.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
And the
And
Houston
yet they're
game was the
below.
last second.
Houston hasn't even played well, and Houston beat them. Houston, by the way, 0-3 against other winning teams. You know, they can beat up on Buffalo. Buffalo's beating up on the tomato can. I wish I had a tomato can with me, because that's all they're doing, Nick. Nothing else. Their defense is middling, 18th in the league in total defense. This is what Buffalo has: a great, dynamic quarterback. That's
And
it.
8 wins.
That's
And 8
8 wins against a bunch of chumps.
Okay. I mean,
Seriously, I told you they beat like one other than Arizona. I think 2 4-win teams. Indianapolis and Seattle are like their best wins outside of Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking
listen,
about?
I
Every
get it.
time they
If you
move
ta-
up in
if
weight,
you take
we're
out-
ready.
if
We're
you-
ready.
If you
Do
take
we
out the
want to
wins
take up
against
the
winning
champ?
teams, they don't have wins against winning teams. I get it. That's odd.
They got
that
one
happens.
win against winning teams.
And you said if you take out that win against Arizona, their next
They're
best win is
7-2.
against 4-win teams. Like, I get
4
it.
and 6.
Listen,
That's impressive. I mean, there's why are they ahead of Baltimore?
Because I think they're better than Baltimore.
Even
'Cause
though
they don't-
Baltimore beat them by
Yes.
what, 25?
I understand that
was it?
5 weeks ago Baltimore crushed them. I get
Oh, so
that
it's
entirely.
irrelevant because it was 5 weeks ago. Okay.
I think since then the Bills made a major addition in adding Amari Cooper.
He's
They
not
didn't
even
have him there.
playing.
He's not playing this week, I understand, but
Or last week,
he has
or the week
played
before.
for the team. I don't think Buffalo has a glaring weakness. Baltimore does. Baltimore has a bottom 5 pass defense, bottom 3 pass defense. I don't think I think
The
that
glaring weakness is that they're
in
mediocre
the
in a
biggest
lot of-
games, I would, as much as I like the Lions, Jared Goff concerns me. And what has happened, I believe, is folks before the year prematurely gave up on Buffalo and now are unwilling to say, oh, maybe they are actually still pretty damn good. I have been the bane of Bills fans' existence.
I was going to say, that's why I was holding my head.
Why?
Because I think it's confusing for the audience until I realize
they're playing the Chiefs.
He wants to live
It is where they have been.
He's been here the whole time.
I've been there the whole time.
He's not. Now he's legit mad.
Yeah, because it's patently absurd that I'm trying to artificially inflate Buffalo because I need some extra ammo for the two-time defending champions to defend them in one way or another. It's ridiculous. What is true is this. It shouldn't be confusing for the audience. What is Nick's Bills take every year? The correct one. That's what it is. When Brew's putting him in the Super Bowl, Nick has the correct one. When Coach has him missing the playoffs, Nick has the correct one. So that's the Nick's Bills take is just the right one.
It's not confusing. Be correct when you got a team that beat them by 25 below them.
Okay,
it's not like the Ravens are 4-6. They're 7-3. Their record is great too.
Yeah, I think the Ravens have a glaring weakness, and it concerns me.
That's fair.
That's all.
Didn't rear its ugly head against the Bills, but
they sure did.
Point. They have one of the worst defenses in the league. It's what I'm worried about as well.
And the Bills could only score 10 points on them. What about that? If the defense is that bad, why couldn't the Bills score more than 10 points on them?
I feel like this is like Thanksgiving, and it's my time to go, and I don't have that hot of a take. I'm like, I'm in that spot. I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to artificially juice it up to meet the moment. The Broncos deserve some credit for playing okay. They're playing much more okay than we realize. And they almost beat the Chiefs. Now, granted, their special teams blocking's not fantastic, but I just want to give the Broncos a shout-out. One, the defense is good. You mentioned it. And also, quick shout-out to the Broncos defense and Vance Joseph, who, after giving up 70 points and had Mike McDaniels like, hey, we didn't want to set the NFL record. And we were like, this is the most obvious firing in the world. You almost broke the record for points allowed. Sean Payton stuck with him. The defense, they got rid of guys and got better. So shout out to you and the whole Denver defense. Also, Bo Nix. Are you actually better than we thought? What's Bo Nix's ceiling? I said Kirk Cousins.
No, it's too high.
If he's Kirk Cousins,
would be a huge one.
I tell you what, though, Waz, those last 6 games.
These aren't against.
Those are great numbers.
They had some, easy W's, but he played well against the Chiefs.
He's played well. I think whatever his ceiling is, he is closer to it than any of the other rookies, including Jaden, because of his age. What is he, 31?
Yeah.
And he has Sean
I didn't
Payton.
see those numbers in the right column in Nick's graphics earlier.
About what?
Yes,
About
you
the
did, Brew.
rookie quarterback.
Brew, you did.
No,
there.
not
I had.
Kirk Cousins this week.
Best
Hobbs is telling me if he beats Kirk Cousins this week, he'll be officially better than Kirk Cousins. That's how it works. And then Broncos in one-score games. Kind of like the opposite of the Chiefs, but it's okay. Rookie quarterback, kind of a youngish team, but same kind of vibes. Good defense. No one ever scores a ton of points. So you're in a lot of these games. They just don't necessarily go your way. But it makes me think a little late season push, although you will start playing the, your own division. So just shout out to Broncos. Again, not as passionate as everyone else, but just more of like an after dinner.
You should have done you know what you should have done for the Tiers? That the Bears shouldn't be on it. You were so passionate about it. You screwed up the whole intro, threw off the whole segment, made me mad. Now I'm yelling at Coach.
You're yelling at Coach a lot. Coach, you got to be careful with that.
What? No.
Coach, it's just be like, I'm sorry.
Listen,
I forgot how many Super Bowls you won. That's always there as a nuclear bomb. You have to. You have to draw back. You're fighting against a nuclear power. You got like a little.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.